I think what I want to share is just for anybody else who might be feeling or has felt like you have to get back or get to this perfect place, and that day just keeps not coming. And I finally decided for myself that, all right, I'm not waiting anymore. I think also the difference when you just have even a few people who you feel like get you, who are in your corner, who can be cheerleaders for what you're trying to do. I just think that's so important and so lacking. We ended up taking our son out of high school, and he's been out for over 2 months. And honestly, he's sleeping. That's what he's doing. He's sleeping until noon every day, and then he's gaming with his friends online. And we took did a lot of research on this, and it's called de-schooling. And it's this idea, sort of like if you've come out of a cult, you need time to decompress from the enormous stress. I was walking in the den today and really felt like saying hello and giving a bit of an update on what I've been up to. And also, I think just sharing a message for anyone else out there who's dealing with chronic illness or some kind of situation where you are stuck and not able to be living life in the way that you want to. Because lately, I've been on a platform called the School for Moral Ambition, and it has 25,000 people on it, and it's meant to be for people who want to do good in the world, but it's very much focused on things like policy, changing policies and that sort of direction. And I see so many people on there, particularly younger people, but really of all ages, who want to be doing work that matters, that helps the planet or helps democracy or in some way contributes to the world. And they can't find the job pathway to do it. And that's really so much of what I care about, is how you help people who feel like they want to be making the world a better place, but they can't. And I know for me, for the last 11 years, I've been trying to heal chronic fatigue, and I keep thinking like I'm almost there, and then I'll have a horrible setback, like I'll get really sick, and I'll be taken out sometimes for weeks or even months. And I think what I want to share is just for anybody else who might be feeling or has felt like you have to get back or get to this perfect place. Like for me, it was like, well, when I'm fully without symptoms, and that day just keeps not coming. And I finally decided for myself that, all right, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm going to try again to launch this online community. And so that's what I've been doing for for months and months. I've been working on it anyway, but a few weeks ago, honestly, what happened was I was on a call with some of these people from the School for Moral Ambition who particularly care about the planet. It was about like 9 of us. And just them saying, yeah, we think what you're doing is a great idea, like, we'll support you, made all the difference. Like, suddenly I had other people who felt like me, who were people that didn't know me. They weren't like friends or family that maybe would say something nice, or at least I would interpret it like they're saying something nice just to be kind, but don't necessarily mean it. These were strangers. And they were like, no, I think this online community thing for evolutionaries is a good idea. How can we help? And so, yeah, that was the impetus. And I have built out the community. I've invited an initial small group to test it because, anything at the beginning I learned from web design, you need to test it with several people because there's always going to be a lot of mistakes and glitches and so on. So that's where it's at now. But honestly, it's been so great. Like even just having, 5, 6 people who you feel like, oh yeah, you get it. Like yeah, we're similar in these ways, really lifts my mood every day. I find like each day I'm kind of excitedly checking the app to see like, oh, what has somebody said or what's going on. So I'm not saying all, it sounds like I'm trying to make a sales pitch, but what I'm trying to communicate is, I think also the difference when you just have even a few people who you feel like get you, who are in your corner, who can be cheerleaders for what you're trying to do. I just think that's so important and so lacking. So I think I just wanted to say that things are going well. In the last 7 months or whatever since I posted, we ended up taking our son out of high school, and I need to make a whole separate video on that because that has been fascinating for anyone who knows somebody who's in school and hates it, or even just remembers what it was like to be back in school and hating it. In our son's case, it was a combination of the other kids in the school feeling such profound anxiety every single day, going to school feeling like he was being judged, criticized, ranked all the time. And I think that's something that older generations like me don't really understand because we didn't have social media. We didn't have literally people holding their phone up to you, taking a picture of you and ranking you on your hotness. Like, can you imagine how horrifying that is to have that day on day? So that was a huge piece of it for Gilbert. But the other piece, he was bored shitless in school. It was so boring. And I don't mean to slam on teachers. I love teachers, and I know how hard they are trying, and they are doing so much more work for so little pay, and it's not right. It's the curriculum that's requiring them to be this way, and the way that schools are set up. Right now, Gilbert's in what's known as S3 in Scotland, which is the equivalent to sophomore year in high school in the US. And, so he's 15. And everything is designed for the tests next year that will take place. So sort of like the American SATs. In the UK, they have GCSEs, I think it's in England, and Highers in Scotland. And everything is just about those tests. So it's entirely memorization and rote learning and things like that. And once I really understood how much it was designed that way, I was like, no, we're out of here. So we pulled Gilbert out of school, and he's been out for over 2 months. And honestly, he's sleeping. That's what he's doing. He's sleeping until noon every day. And then he's gaming with his friends online. And we took did a lot of research on this, and it's called de-schooling. And it's this idea, sort of like if you've come out of a cult, you need time to decompress from the enormous stress. And that's what he's doing. So yes, at some point we're going to come up with a sort of open-ended curriculum. So we're not doing, I thought homeschool meant you had to have like a full-on class-by-class curriculum. Not so. You have kind of the other end of the spectrum known as unschooling, where you can do whatever you like. Just follow your curiosity. I think we'll kind of go somewhere in between, having a bit of a curriculum, because we do want him to take those exams next year so that he can, go to university if that's what he wants to do. So, but the point is, when I was growing up, and for I think a lot of us watching this, you didn't get that choice. You just had to go to your shitty school and deal with it. But I think things have gotten so bad for so many students that they're leaving in droves. And we're lucky enough to be able to have just enough resources, as in time and energy, to support Gilbert. And he's old enough at 15 that he can do a lot of self-directed learning. So anyway, obviously that's a huge topic, and I'll talk more about that later. So just wanted to kind of catch you all up. I hope you're doing well. I miss hearing from everybody, and I'd love to hear more about how you're doing. And if you want to come join me on this big adventure and do the community work that we're doing, You'll see the link in the description below. But in the meantime, take care. So as I was walking a bit further, I realized I hadn't said everything maybe I wanted to say about starting something when you're not fully well. And just to say from my experience, how I've approached it this time is really just, and it's so basic, but it really is just taking it a step at a time. And for me, I've had to force myself to stop working at like lunchtime, thereabouts, because I'm an early morning worker. I'll just be in bed on my iPad working, and I'll go through till lunchtime. And then I just am like, right, we're leaving the house now. We're going to have a bath, or we're going to watch a movie that we love, or read a book, or just lie there doing nothing because we're tired. But I've had to have a kind of discipline in a way that I've not really had to have before, a discipline to make sure that I'm doing things that are not work, are not effort. And when I say work, I also mean things like chores, like cooking and cleaning and things like that. And really prioritizing doing the gentle things or the fun things that help me feel replenished each day. And so that's why I'm here. That's why I'm walking through this den. And actually the way I do it is Malcolm drops me off at one end and then it slopes down to the other end. And that's how I can make it work. And not always, but today I can. Something I really have come to understand about my chronic fatigue is that it is very much having to do with my nervous system. And what I mean is not that it's all in my head. I have had to have a really good diet. I've had to have lots of supplements. I've had to have certain antivirals. I've had to have HRT. Many physical things had to be fixed and continue to be something I tweak. But by far the biggest lever is how safe I feel, how supported I feel. And again, that's really where the community piece comes for me, because no matter how much Malcolm does, he's just one person. And you can feel so isolated. And this is something I see everywhere, regardless of illness. People who are perfectly, seemingly healthy are super lonely, alone, feeling like they're having to do it all themselves. And that's just wrong. That is just something we have to change, and something I'm determined to change. So with the whole idea of trying to do something bit by bit, rather than wait till you're at this ideal place where you feel then you'll be able to do it, that's how I've approached it. Okay, just wanted to add that in.